Welcome back to The Final K, the official podcast of Flamme Rouge Racing, where tactics, tech, and tenacity all come together. I'm your host, Nathan Krake, and I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Race Control himself, Rich Vale. This is episode 2, and things are really starting to heat up. In this episode, we look at the FRR schedule. Season 5 kicks off with Tour de France, 8 races in 9 days. And with Super 6 just around the corner, we take a look at race 1. And we meet our special guest and the man behind Octaine, John Fitzy Fitzgerald. So clip in and let's get into it. How's it going? I know the heat's been on with you. You've had the tour kick off. It's been all hands on deck, hasn't it?
Hey, we kicked off yesterday. It's, as you said, 8 days, 8 races coming through. So, it was going fine. What could possibly go wrong? That's all I could say in any of these events that we ever do. And no matter how much testing you ever do, something can always throw you a spanner left works, and we got a few spanners yesterday, which was interesting. So that's been a couple of days of really late nights and just getting through things. But look, on the bonus side, the racing's been really good. Really well attended. Actually, some bigger numbers actually in some of those races today and yesterday than we'd normally see, which is interesting. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. We've had 3 times probably more than we'd normally get, like 120 people doing races. I think we had about 250 at 10:30. So there's a lot of people turning up. Spreading themselves out during the day. So. Which is really good. And as we mentioned off screen, the weather is actually pretty good. Disappointingly for indoor racing, I will say that the weather's pretty good because those sort of guys go, can I do the 100 miles outside instead? Yeah. So I think from that perspective, it's not good everywhere in the world and those sort of things. So.
Well, it's starting to get a bit nicer here in Australia, I can tell you that. The sun's starting to peep out and it's not blisteringly cold at the moment. So it is a bit of a trick staying indoors. But look at that lineup, though. I was actually just checking that out before with the Three Musketeers, Casapates and Lutece Express.
Lutece Express, indeed. We're going to have to improve your French, I think, Nathan. But... this tour the other day, we had a comment last year that, and we've always had the tag that FRR is one of the hardest places to come and do a tour for any period of time that we do. And it has been, and it will be, and it will remain that. However, we also have there's a lot of other riders out there that say, I'm not an out-and-out climber. And a lot of your tours, like in real life, are won by climbers at the end of the day. Pogačar doesn't win because he can't climb and all those sort of things. But we can afford to make ours a little bit more, we'll make this tour flat rolling. And that's what we've done. So we've tried to appeal to a number of different types of style of rider. So as we said before, this one's a flat rolling one. It's got a couple of bumps in it. It doesn't have an Alpa or Ventoux to really throw the, to put all that out, to really crush people out there. But it's going to have some very difficult, not so much difficult, but it's going to ask some questions along the way. As far as stamina, you're only going to win it if you do them all anyway. 7 and 8 at the end of the day, they're both 55 apiece. So, people are going to... There are solid rides out there, and over the course of the week, the GC, the way it's been, and if I look at it over today or yesterday, they're really tight, and that's purposely so. Caspats has got the little hump in it of Petit Com, which just gives a little bit of a breaker, but it also had 13 kilometres to go, so you've got to be able to hold on to that for 13 at the end of it. So, it has been set up to give you chances and to ask some different questions, but it's going to build. The key thing about this tour is that it will build over the week, and it won't all be overcome 3 days into it. We've got an ITT tomorrow. ITTs are there to say, look, I don't care where you live in the world. I've got the chance to put some time into you if I'm strong enough to do it, because you're judged against everybody. So that's why we have 2 of those. And again, I've never really found going around Paris actually that nice. Actually, it's not very hilly, but it's cobbled and it resists you. So, and Bon Voyage will do a similar sort of thing. These new cobbled areas within France will give a slightly different, can I keep my power up? So yeah.
That's it. It really does challenge a lot of different riders, doesn't it? But yeah, certainly you're correct. Like the routes around France are always fun, but in Paris, it can get a little bit mundane just doing the laps. But that drag up to the Arc is the one that always gets me.
Exactly. Yeah, and I know going around the same sort of space, same sort of world can feel a little bit, here again, I'm here. So I've tried not to have that. And fortunately, with Zwift putting in the new routes around France, it does give you a couple of extra options to go somewhere else. And
it does help. Well, the Three Musketeers is a great example of that. So out of those 8 races there, which do you think is your favourite?
I think my favourite will probably be Thiers. I think Thiers Bouchon, stage 5. Again, it's going to that's going to provide as big a chance as anyone's got to push that out, to push yourself out and break a few e-gaps. So I think that just says, because it goes uphill straight away, it's going to be one where people are looking at it going, when this goes, I've got to be on it. For the first 3 kilometers of this race, I've got to be on it, because if I'm not, they'll get over the top, they'll get away, and we won't catch. And it's the biggest opportunity that any rider's got to go, as a group, can I get away and stretch away? So I think that'll be interesting. And I'm also quite interested in doing on the Sunday. I've called it the round table because I don't know why they've called it the roundabout. Anyone who puts Knights of the Round something, our first thing would be round table. So I think that's another course that again can give opportunity. It is the Queen stage, but it's not that much of a Queen stage, but there's opportunity.
Oh, it's not too bad. 55Ks, 360 meters of climbing at the end of the tour.
Yeah.
You really know how to lock them in, don't you?
Well, again, it's one of those you've built it up all week just to gradually pull them in and keep them there, and then spank people harder at the end of the week. It's probably the best way to do it. Obviously later on in the show, we've got a little bit of a first look at Britannia, and I won't give too much away on that one at the moment. But
well, I've got a poll in the chat there. If anyone can see the poll, asking if anyone actually wants to know about the Britannia tour coming up, or do we want to keep it a secret for a little bit longer?
Could do.
So let's see what people say. 2 quick things, though, before we press on. Firstly, hi to Lisa in the chat there. So Lisa says that we need some more new routes in France, especially for FRR. And the second one was, I just forgot to shout out to Norax in our last episode. So Norax kindly contributed those images we saw in the intro at the start there. So they're from his streams and his recordings. So thanks to Norax for that. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks to you, Norax. Yeah, great contributor online he is. And
in the Discord, exactly. Yeah. And we've got the link
Discord
to the Discord.
Everywhere.
Yeah, the Discord channel for FRR. If you're interested in catching up more about FRR, learning about what's going on, if you've got any questions, you can also put it in the chat too, and we'll try our best to answer them. But the link to the Discord channel is in the description below. We are looking at the tour. We're talking about that. We've got a fantastic guest coming up very, very soon. The man behind Octaine as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's John has got more than enough capability to talk about anything he needs to. He's a really good biker. We were checking off screen earlier, and not been particularly well recently, but hopefully we'll get him back on a bike soon. it's difficult, and I won't say this too lightly. I think it's difficult for me to actually say I've come across someone who works as hard as John.
Right.
It's yeah. I mean, he's always available 24/7, even more than race control is during a tour week. But yeah, he's tenacious in everything he does, I think, at the end of the day. So I think it'll be a great conversation to have with John shortly and on that call. And,
absolutely. And we're going to be talking about Super 6, but just on Super 6, we've got that kicking off on October 10th. So how's that shaping up so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's shaping up well. I think what we always see with events and, no matter how large we want to make the things, tours have taken 5 years to get where we are today, and, to get 1,400 people, 1,300 people sign up to start this work, and whether they all turn up on Saturday is one thing. But at some point they've signed up, and they've only signed up in the last week. But that's taken 5 years to get to that particular point.
To build to that point.
So 6 will take its time to build. We've got a great structure, we've got great intentions, all of those sort of things, and we'll follow through with everything that we can do. I think there's 2 things at the moment. I think over the next 2 weeks, which is why we've got more teams coming through, and those leagues will build out. I think it's fair to say that the US West is always perhaps the thinnest market on a Zwift space. There is a lot of them out there, but a bit like Australia, they've got lots of great weather as well. So again, do they want to come and do it? The other angle to it is, people are still going to come into this quite late on. So Europe have taken it quite well. So, we've got a really good set of some good numbers in there. APAC have pulled up and gone, okay, yeah, we're getting more numbers in that space too. So, I think way I originally put it out there of, you've got to be in by this date and all that stuff. We're keeping that quite open. I think we want to get more people to come in and join. Okay, you might not do as well in the league because you can't win as many points if you don't start at the start. But it says, look, this is going to build. While you're still outside riding and going, our members are still outside and therefore they're not quite here yet, you can still get back into this sort of space. We're trying to guard against the teams that might go, I'm only going to ghost in towards the end. And that will only work against teams if they do that, because we're going to credit teams for being in at the start rather than coming in at the end and going, I'll just try and get to the finals by exactly. So be in at the start, be part of it at the start, we'll build together. From everyone we've spoken to, it's the most strategic, exciting piece of team racing that has ever been put on any of the platforms. It's
certainly from a team captain perspective, and being a captain of one of the teams, it is it's going to be a real trick to look. I'm looking at the course. So this is the first race, the Royal Pump Room. That's a really difficult course. Like, technically, it's really challenging, and then you add in the whole aspect of the wild card as well, and choosing your riders to best compete in this course is a really difficult thing.
Exactly. So when you look at that particular course, and then these courses haven't just been picked out of a hat. They have been picked because, one, all courses, when we're doing a points race, have got 2 sprints and 2 climbs. So the climbers have got something to do. Your GC rider's still got to get to the end. And equally, the positioning of where the wild card sprint is, or the wild card challenge is. And the wild card challenge is, if your rider is the wild card, their challenge is to get over that line. We'll track the first over the line within your pen. So, get over that line in the top 10, and you can go and earn your team an extra point. And regardless of how many points that they earn as riders, this is an extra team league point. So it will mean, can I stay at the top of that league table? But, that particular segment there, people have just done a climb. So who are you going to give it to? Are you going to give it to a GC rider who wants to try and do a bit of a breakaway with a long way to go? Or are you going to give it to a climber and hope he can hang on to it and get over it? So again, So those are the sort of things. We're just giving people something else to think about. And, some people might go, I just want simple. Well, we've had simple for donkey's years.
No, we don't want simple.
And, love it or hate it, at the end of the day, people do want a little bit more.
We want brutality. That's what we want.
Yeah. I think the other thing, as we mentioned about, numbers and that sort of stuff, building and all that sort of stuff, is, we pained for a long time about the actual night of whether it should be Friday, whether it should be another night. It can't be Tuesday at this moment in time. I'm not going to go anywhere near that particular night for all the obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And the only other night that's really come out to say, look, if we were going to move it because of other feedback saying, Friday night, what do I do post work? I want to go out with my mates. I don't want to go and race. Then I ride at the weekends. Is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So if at some point in time it's to move, to encourage even to take that. I like to Zwift between Monday and Thursdays. Then that's only to expand it and to bring even more back in.
Yeah, okay. So you think Wednesdays, yeah?
That would be, that would be the other natural place to go because, but look, we are where we are at this moment in time. On the 10th, we've got a great show. Just to say we've got ZMS doing the production on the back end of the live stream.
This is for the live coverage of race 1, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're going to live coverage the 1830 European one. It's got the most in there.
Yep.
We've got a full A team set. We've got full B, C, D, and E's building in there. So we've got a lot of riders in there, and a lot of strategy to go. So it's really building out. So we've got hopefully yourself, unless you can tell me no, on the microphone.
Well, I was about to say we've got Emma Martin as well commentating, and the one and only. Yeah,
I'm not sure actually. I'll check with you. I should have asked Emma the other day. Should I refer to Emma as Dr. Emma Martin, actually? I'm sure maybe Emma will tell me afterwards, actually, but I'm sure I maybe I've dreamt that, but I think it is that.
I think technically that's correct. I remember asking Emma when we had her on our podcast a while back, and Emma, being the fantastic person that she is, was nonplussed about it. She wasn't certainly getting bent out of shape that we weren't referring to her as doctor, but at the same time, I think we should slip it in there just for the officialness of it.
I think so. But also, but she's a wonderful commentator, so very knowledgeable, and we'll be looking to make a really good show. I'd love to be on the stream myself, but you never know. I might be racing badly actually on screen.
We might have to catch you on camera there, making a breakaway.
Oh yeah, I might look a little bit better on a. I don't think I'll be making a breakaway. So.
No,
no, but
not even for the sponsors.
Oh, I'll go on then. Never thought about it like that.
Ernst has just jumped in the chat and said, thanks for all the arrangements. He's really appreciating it. And Michael as well. So Michael Stillworthy there too. Yep. So thanks to everyone jumping in the chat, which is really appreciated. I think we should get John on here, and because he's in the green room just waiting for us to bring him in. So let's introduce John. John, welcome. Thank you for joining us on the show. Really appreciate your time. We know that you're not feeling the best. You've had a little bit of a bad run with health, but you've been absolutely smashing it out in the bike though.
Well, I guess so, a little bit. I just came down. Been traveling a lot the last probably 3 weeks, and it's finally caught up with me. Trying my best when I travel to stay away from sneezing and sniffling and everything like that, but it did catch up with me this time.
So, John, look, let's just get into Octaine and talk quickly about that. It's certainly something that's been fantastic to watch, and the development of the relationship between Flamme Rouge Racing and yourself there. But look, give us a bit of an overall mission or a vision of what it is.
Boy, how long do you have? Yeah, exactly. It's sort of a culmination, I would say, about things that affected my life in a personal way, and things that I've tried to do to overcome certain things. And most of my time since my professional soccer career, I became a lawyer for a while, and just trying to stay up on fitness was important to me. Staying away from injury and stuff. And I really, about 10 years ago, found this beautiful thing called bike racing. and it's I've become obsessed with it. It's something that I don't, knock on wood, don't generally get injured from. Get very great CO2 exercise, have a lot of fun. Like, to me, cycling outdoors and in competition and indoor are just extremely fun for me. I've met some great people whilst I've been racing, both on my team and off teams. I enjoy the shenanigans that go on. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoyed the just team kind of things that people do to one another, and also the strategic nature of Zwift racing and digital racing. I did not really realize, probably until around 4 years ago, how important tactics were. And these algorithms that these companies have built are solid. They basically, the inputs are what the inputs are, and the output is exactly how it is outside as well. And I'm extremely indebted to those companies for what they put together for us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it certainly is. It just ticks all the boxes, doesn't it? With racing and both indoors and outdoors. Take us through
Octaine,
now.
Just on Octaine, sorry, just to get to what Octaine really is. It's more or less. The internet has become clouded with all sorts of things that people are unsure of, and what I really strove to do, and also part of my career has been in the online gambling world, and the questioning of random number generators and transparency of wagering and competition is probably the number one thing that people speak about. So my vision is for Octaine to be that brand on the internet that people can trust. Even in some of my races, I get beat to the line, and there's always people questioning somebody's weight, and were they in the right category and stuff. It doesn't really bother me. Some of my best losses have been my best wins, just because of how great the competition was during it. So I really strive to provide with Richard a product that the riders, after putting and investing an hour and a half into something, can come away feeling what a great challenge that was. And that's, I think, what's important to both Richard and I.
Yeah, and I think, John, just some of the things that we've started to do in this series, and they start to improve on those things. That 4 years worth of build of just the base following at the end of the day. While I've not done an enormous amount of Zwifting, for the last couple of months, really out there. I mean, I've been online, I've done things out there, but that population of me hasn't really been there. As soon as this tour started yesterday out there, I could look down every pen and go, wow, they're all back. They're all there. And that's because of the trust of what we've done over the years. And people have just said, okay, look, I can't wait for this to start. And I think at the end of the day, everything that we're going to build going forward at the end of the day, we're at the very start of that sort of unification of and building everything together in making this sort of online cycling piece so much better, I think, at the end of the day. And,
for the community of riders, I think they deserve it.
Absolutely. And we've always been for the community. This isn't just a targeted small segment of virtual racing. It is for the community. We've always said we are community focused and that sort of stuff. That's really at the heart of everything we do. Is for everybody. It's for everybody.
Without a doubt, the number one thing with FRR, especially within the Zwifting world, is that it is about community. It is one of the biggest challenges, and it certainly has that at its core as well, which is fantastic. Not a lot of, community-led events or races have that kind of comments made about them. So certainly, even in the comments now, I'm saying, look, I can see Lisa's saying that FRR is the best, and it's definitely a challenge, that's for sure. And so I think that's really comes across in everything that's been done. But I just want to come back to John though, and talk about the now. Am I going to pronounce this correctly? Figital.
Well, it's a debate that Richard and I have been having for a little while, actually, again, just before this telecast. But, esports for me is something that you actually have to get off the couch and do. A lot of people, think of esports, you could have Call of Duty, other things that, these games that are being played. But how great is it that we have a platform where you have to get off your couch, you have to get onto a bike, you have to exert yourself, you have to then learn how to ride, you have to learn how to work with your teammates, you have to consider all these things going on at the same time. So it really is the intersection between physicality and the digital world. I truly believe we were debating there whether or not things such as cross-country running or marathon can be done on a platform, which it does. We know it does. But in terms of something to this sort of scale, where the algorithm picks up draft, weight, steepness of hill, downhill. Like, I'm a light rider, and I always thought I was built to climb. But I've noticed actually over the past probably like 3 years, I've become more of an all-rounder, a bit leaning towards on the punchier side. But maybe that's the way my body has changed, the way my riding skills have changed. But I know that if I don't get to that hill behind somebody large, then it's going to be difficult for me to get down that hill with pace. And these are things that, like, I just think are an amazing. Besides the physicality, the mental preparedness is very, very important. I've lost races because of mistakes that I've made. I've lost a wheel thinking I'll catch onto that wheel. I got a strong, 4-minute power, whatever that might be, but it doesn't always work out that way.
I mean, one of the things, John, sorry, Nathan, I was just saying, one of the things that, John, you've mentioned before is, you've clearly got a great understanding of how that sort of, that racing works. And you're, as you've said to me before, you take your stuff wherever you go, because you enjoy it that much. And if you happen to be out in Europe somewhere and you want to be out there for a week or so, then your bike comes with you and your trainer comes with you. So you're really, honed into racing wherever you need to race, as long as you're fit, of course. Again, I think if the racing hadn't caught your attention as much as that, I don't think you would push yourself as much to do it.
No, but it's the way I'm built, unfortunately and fortunately. Yes, you should talk to my family about my bike coming along trips with me. It's not the most enjoyable thing for them, especially when we're waiting for the oversized luggage, hopefully, to show up. There's many trips where the bike doesn't seem to show up, and I have a race tomorrow. But I really, I'm not one for, going down to the shops and visiting things that I've seen before. I've had the luxury of playing for my country and traveling all around the world playing soccer, and I've seen a lot of places and stuff like that. So I've had that experience of interaction. But when I go to countries now, I love, especially when I go to Italy or France, instead of, going around seeing the sights of Paris, I like to get out into the hills. I like to go for rides, like to challenge myself and just meet new people. Last time it would have been, I guess, sometime in May. We had a family trip celebrating my son's graduation, and we made our way over to the south of France and into Italy during the Giro Italia. And I was out riding in Villefranche and saw some of the hills where Tadej Pogačar has owned every KOM, and just being on some of those hills and not really dreaming I could ever get up the hill at a speed that he could, but just, seeing the routes that these guys do day in and day out, where a lot of these people live, it's just really, really exhilarating, exciting for me.
Speaking of riding, you were out in France recently with Rich.
Yeah, uninvited.
How was that?
Actually, uninvited.
Well, it was a sort of invited and okay, I'm coming over to see you. It was it was a great time. So
it was. My team on Zwift is Flamme Racing, and yes, just a little shout out to you lads out there and ladies as well. I was speaking with one of the brothers about just all the moaning that was going on about certain of the tours that were being held, and just about, I love this thing that much. I put that much time into it. It'd be great to work with somebody, put some financial resources and time and energy and assets behind something. And I was introduced to this gentleman called Richard Vale. And Richard came to me with great reputation. I hadn't raced in a Flamme Rouge race before.
And still haven't.
And I still haven't, but I promise. I actually, when I saw that the first tour event went off yesterday, I was like, if I weren't feeling so under the weather, I would have been on it. But I, said to Richard, he was heading over solo to France to go up Alpe d'Huez and Mont Ventoux. And I said to him, would you mind if I joined you? I'd love to talk to you about the things that we could do together. And I said, if I beat you up the hill, you got to follow what I say. And if you beat me up the hill, I'll follow what you say. So it was game on as soon as we got there.
I don't remember that little side bet, but hang
on. But now I need to know though, who won?
There was no winner. Actually, to be frank, I left it all out there on the first from Bedouin up the hill. It was each year I go back to Ventoux and try to beat my time. So I gave a little heads up that I'm going to just go all out. And Richard, I did not make it up to 3 times during the day like Richard did. He's quite an
that's
animal.
A monster effort.
Absolute monster. And so I let him do that. But I'll tell you something, I can't keep up to him downhill, that's for sure.
There's downhill in the day is, and even I've scrubbed stuff off over the years because of coming off. Coming off downhill hurts a lot more than it does going uphill. And there's only normally one winner on that sort of thing. So there's no disrespect in basically getting down a hill when you've got up it. I think at the end of the day, but when we all watch people like Tom Pidcock descend off the Glibier. And what he was doing there, I mean, that is just some crazy descending, as we all saw.
He's mad. He's like officially mad. Some of the speeds he does, it's incredible.
Well, if you've ever descended off Glibier, as many people listening possibly have, hopefully, there's no coming back if you're getting it wrong at 80 and 90 kilometers an hour. On those places down there, and heaven forbid, we start thinking about what about if I get a blowout? What about if I get this? What about if I get that? I think if you think about those things, they don't do it.
No, you're already in the wrong mindset.
So you're already in the wrong sport, I think, in the day. Sadly, at that end, but yeah. So if it becomes an annual thing, then John, then it could be a different bet actually. But that's what I can say.
So you're already setting it up for the next one.
I think I need to get John on the Marmot the weekend before of it. You see, you'd love that event. So that is an event for you to, I think, would be ideal for you.
Definitely, I'm game. I'm in. Just tell me when.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And so, can I ask a quick question then, John? What bike have you got? What are you riding at the moment?
I was fortunate, very, very fortunate that my local bike shop, Bike Depot, was able to get me an SL8, the Bora Hansgrohe Team Edition. So
wow.
The white one's absolutely gorgeous. It's such a great all-around bike. I've been riding the Athos before that I think for somebody who wants an all-around ride, the S-Works Athos is such a comfortable ride. But the SL8 is special. And there's probably a reason that everybody in Zwift is actually riding that. It's interesting now at start lines. That's the only bike that I see people riding right now. So it's I don't know if the sponsors just paid a lot of money or people are choosing that bike.
It's the only bike I'm riding at the moment. So and it's I've got it fully upgraded. So it's quite special.
It is, and I use that one in life as well. So it's a great bike.
Well,
but I
fantastic.
need to get refitted. I was out riding in Vancouver about 2 weeks ago. Actually, 2 weeks ago yesterday, and I do. It's one of those things I think about riding is consistently, just with the knocks and stuff like that. That little things get out of place, and I do need to get back in for a proper fitting again.
When you say you're out in Vancouver, was that for the that Vancouver? What do you call it? The Fondo?
The Grand Fondo?
I was out for the RBC, the 2025, the Grand Fondo, and not just the Grand Fondo, the Forte. And I don't know if people understand the Forte. So you start out the race with a climb up Cypress Mountain. And so I think in total it's 157 kilometers, approximately 3,000 meters of climbing. So it's quite a grueling, it's quite a grueling trip. But all my hats off to RBC and the race coordinators, the volunteers. What an excellent job! Like closing off like sea to sky. I know that if I were one of those people trying to get from Vancouver to Whistler in a car, I wouldn't have been the happiest at times during the race. But I think they had over 7,000 participants in that race, and it was so well organized. Yeah, it's just anybody from around the world, you want to come to a world-class event, and it's the RBC Grand Fondo, and it's exceptionally run, and people were wonderful, and I can't wait to do it again. But this next time I do it, I'm going to bring some gels with me because I forgot all my gels. I was such a nightmare. That's it. That's it right there.
Nutrition is such a hard thing to get right, but forgetting them doesn't help though, does it?
No, not at all. And it makes you a little bit nervous at 5:30 in the morning at the start. So, but the feed stations were wonderful. Just what a great day. It's just a great day. Safe. Made a lot of friends. Just a wonderful day.
And clearly good weather then. Clearly good weather then as well then, John.
Interestingly, the race almost got called off in the last day because they had some forest fires that were affecting near areas near to that, and not so much the fire itself. It was the air quality that they were concerned about. But I just felt I was in a sauna the whole way up. That's literally in a sauna with the smell and the heat.
Makes it even harder. So what time did you do it in, if I can get that little bit of information?
Yeah, I think my total ride time was about 5.5 hours.
Wow. That's quick.
Yeah, I didn't think it was quick because my strategy would have been to not stop, other than if I had a mechanical, that I would have been able to take about 120 grams an hour of gels, and but with no gels, I really did feel it in my legs. I must say that I was out of sorts a bit, but excuse me, here's my cough catching up on me. But I did. I just put back. I remember one of the last things my wife said to me before she wished me for farewell. I don't know what kind of farewell it was, but she said, just don't do what you do, which is go for it. And she said, just enjoy it and finish it. And, when I had forgotten my gels and I think my mentality changed a little bit, but, I was just going to go out there, enjoy it and finish it. And, it was very good to see that finish line. And,
I bet
the amount of extra power I had at the finish line, because the finish was quite, there was a lot of people there, so I put on a bit of a show, I guess, at the end.
That's it. Got to look good. Zip the top up. Get out of the saddle a little bit.
Yeah. No, I actually zipped it all the way down.
He does like doing that as well.
There we go.
So it leads into a question I got then about sort of, Octaine and the future of sort of, virtual racing. How do you see that sort of playing out?
Yeah, I see there's an intersection. Most of my business things that I've done in my life have come from things that I've recognized in businesses that already exist. When I ran a few of my gaming companies, I saw aspects of things we could make better that would make the overall experience better for everyone. I think that for me, competition is the real motivating factor for me to get on a bike. I'm not a person that can go to the gym and run on a treadmill for an hour. I'm just not that sort of person. Now, if you put somebody beside me and, there's a bit of a challenge, yeah, maybe there is. Same thing with golf. I feel strongly the same way with golf. It's like, little bit of a wager, a flutter here or there on a round, on a hole, presses here, presses there, makes things a little bit more fun. So I see with virtual racing a place to be between the software platform supplier and the customer. I think that the companies, My Whoosh, Ruvi, Zwift, others, they're all creating wonderful products. Some of them are listening more to the riders than others, but they're coming out with really, really good products. But I do think that they're losing a bit of connection with the customer. And I think that's where I see the focus of Octaine and Flamme Rouge Racing in the future, and Octaine Racing is providing that hand-holding with the customer, ensuring they get the feedback that they need, the information that they need, appropriate discounts with suppliers. I'm trying to create with Richard's help, trying to create an environment that really listens to the rider first, and I think if we listen to the rider, and then that gives us the power then to speak with the platform providers and give them better insight as well. And I do feel badly for existing Zwift race coordinators where, they're getting bombarded with hundreds of requests for different things. Check this rider out. There's no way they're in the right category. That's, to me, that stuff sorts it out with community. And that's sort of what Richard and I are trying to bring here, is a community of transparency. Like, there's no better indicator of somebody not participating in a race in the right category if the community recognizes those individuals. Most people who race in Zwift racing belong to clubs. Generally, I can spot a difference between a 75 kilogram person and a 65 kilogram person. It's pretty easy. And I think that's sort of the one last bastion about digital riding. There's technical things like crank length and others, but weight, I think, is something that I know digitally we can ensure there's good reporting. And other than that, the velo scores, people who may be not putting in great efforts, there's a history of that. That's the golf industry and slope ratings and handicap systems have really nailed that. So it's very difficult now to show up to a member guest or something and have this edge anymore, because all your last 20 rounds have been looked at by the club professional. Your handicap has been determined based on the slopes of those courses. So there's a lot of little things digitally we can do, and all I want to do is provide people with a very fair and transparent race, just so they can feel good about themselves, they can rate themselves. I think Richard will be one of the first people to agree with me on. It's just kind of nice knowing where you lie. because I want to see how I improve. If I can't see improvement or measure improvement, then I'm not so interested. And so that's one of the things that Richard and I are vying to provide to our users.
And I think, John, just to add to that, the day, it's as you said, it's something that we've all experienced over the years of racing, the same as you, Nathan. I'm either winning or I'm losing against people that sometimes just think, well, okay, I'm not sure it's even a fair race I'm going into. But so, we've done things over the years to try and do more on the verification. We're doing, certainly we started our verification, a different level of verification going into this season. So, it's really key that, it's a key thing for all sort of serious people who want to race, no matter whether it's just for fun or whatever else. You still want to know that it's an above board sort of racing space. And don't get me wrong, there's still lots of work to do. One of the things that you were mentioning there, John, is the from bringing our unification together, or our the Octaine and FRR. Everything that Octaine has a global company. We're now going to get access, as you said, to some resources that can really make the experience for the community, for riders, that much a different community, a different experience that they've never ever seen before. Okay, we're at the start of infancy of starting all of that, but the experience online, to be able to access discounts to things, to be able to access things that we've done a lot of this in our own closets and in our own spaces. We're going to get a more corporate feel. Okay, we can already see with the logos and the design work that's going on, that there's a lot of thought going behind how we want to present things, and it's not just thrown out there without any thought whatsoever. This is a unification. I've got to think of a better word for this one sometimes, John. I think, John, than the unification. I feel so like we're coming together but we'll come out of it. It's going to really improve how riders just react with the platforms. Okay, currently we react with and interact with Zwift, and that's fine. But as you say, there are other platforms out there, and it would be great, I think, as you've mentioned before, John, to be able to go to a central place and see everything that I do in one place. So whether that is I do it on Zwift, whether I do it on Training Peaks, whether I do it on Ruby, whether I do it on My Whoosh, to see it in one place. It's just it's endless where we can take this to, but it has to start somewhere. We're starting here, it'll it's don't expect it all tomorrow, but it's a plan. It's that 3 to 5 year plan of where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's you mentioned. Sorry, Nathan. Just one quick and Richard. That's exactly one of the points that I really wanted to hit home here is. Like me personally, I got this Whoop on. I have my heart rate the Whoop. Unfortunately I don't think it's the best heart rate I wear a heart strap. So I'm going to I'm going to Strava. I'm going here to pull this and that. My goal is to make this very easy for a rider. I want them to have access to anything cycling in the world in one spot. So my goal eventually, and Richard, our goal is eventually we're going to provide riders with, a widget style page, their own, where all their information can be collected, viewed, including information on tours all around the world, like news information, what's happening in the world, even in local national tours, which are very, very important for, people in not that just on Zwift and stuff, but for cycle enthusiasts. Just getting that information is very hard to get in one space. So, I have a tech background and the things that we've done, and I have our team putting out a 3-year vision of where we want to be. It's going to be quite exciting when we get there.
Yeah, and I will say, it's an enormously exciting space. The conversations I have with the Octaine team, and it's scheduling it all in and thinking, okay, we can't order that tomorrow, and we don't intend to, and we can't. But it is going to come, and it's going to. We really would urge people, watch this space, join this space. And just see how things are going to develop, because it will be unlike anything else that we've seen so far in the space of virtual cycling. Absolutely. But it's not just virtual cycling, which is where really the digital comes into it in some respects, because it's not just about digital stuff; it's about the physical too. Lots of things to come.
Just on that, I've got Octaine's social accounts listed in the description of this video that you're watching below. So if you're interested in catching up and keeping up to date with what's going on, check out the description. The links are all there. Go and subscribe.
Yeah, we're also in the process currently of developing some really interesting play for fun games for cyclists as well. We've acquired a company recently in the United States that does that gamification for in-stadium applications, and we're working on some really, really exciting stuff. And I think just stay tuned and be patient with us. And I think there'll be a lot of really neat things for our users to see over the next little while.
Well, that sounds really exciting.
And it is. I mean, I've seen the stuff out there, and it is really exciting in what those guys can do. So I think John, if you had to have one message that you said, okay, I'm just going to leave you guys with this out there in the world with this now, would there be a one thing that you'd say? Although I think actually you actually just said it. If I think of the day, which was for me, and I go, no, okay, I'm not going to put words in your mouth.
You're going to remind me.
Stay tuned. This is going to be an exciting space, and there's a lot to come. I think at the end of the day, that's what I see from our conversations and our work together so far. Is it's inspiring, because no one's I'm going to say it. No one's had the balls to think about it like this before.
Yeah, I think all the hats off to all the mom and pop race coordinators who have put together such a fantastic product over the last little while. And we've learned a lot from watching those events and riding in those events and participating. And, we're going to, try to get this amazing sport called, e-cycling, which truly to me is the number one phygital sport. I can't, again, there's running on treadmills where you can compete. There's probably rowing as well, but this sport is so far out there. The amount of money these software development companies have spent on their platform, with the likes of Zwift having up to 1 million active users per month. I think it's only going to grow. The competition is going to grow. We're going to get better products. And we're going to be there for the customer. We're going to ensure that the customer experience is the best that we could provide, and just give us the opportunity and be patient, but you'll see changes on a monthly basis.
That is going to be fantastic. Now, Rich, we had the poll running. Just want to come back to that really quickly. It looks like everyone wants to know what the tour schedule is.
But John, okay, I mean that's great, John, for all those things. I think what we're going to do now is going to move into the closing down piece, but we're also just going to cover on a couple of things that's coming up. Obviously, we've got 6 coming up, and the first one we spoke about that on October 10th. So that's going to be huge for us in there.
Before you kick.
Hey, yeah, there we go. There it is.
Before you lads kick me off. There it is.
There we go. Look at that.
There it is. So what John is demonstrating on screen is again our subscriptions open on 1st of October. So John and the Octaine team have crafted the hat that we've seen the image for, and now we can see in reality. So it's there. So simple as sign up for the subscriptions. You're already into 6, and what's on John's head there can be yours. So it's probably the easy way to do it. So our subscriptions are our own. I'm not trying to sell it. This is very much your choice. But thank you, John.
Just a second. Actually, I just saw one of my hairs get out of place there.
Oh, good grief!
Makeup.
Oh gosh, you're just making me feel really bad now.
Yeah, exactly. You'll need one for the sun down there anyway.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. But we covered it off last week on our last episode, Rich, where we talked about the whole subscription model that you're venturing into. And I just want to remind people that maybe who aren't familiar with it too much just yet, that it's completely sort of separate in terms of you can still participate in all the races, you can still join up all the events, nothing stopping you from doing that. But for those that do want to get on board with the subscription, you get that cap as part of it.
You get that cap as part of it. When I look at that, what we've got our own store that we'll be selling stuff through, which you can obtain discounts through from the efforts that you're doing in all of our events. We've got the Level store, which has got a load of team store stuff again. So it's not restricted just to FRR stuff. It's any team stuff you can use it against. And I'm also pleased to say that the Verge Cycling are back on the table. So Verge Cycling had a little bit of a wobble when something came out of the US on some trade things, but they're back on the room now. So we'll certainly have those 3 options for people to hold stuff. And I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying, John, at some point in time, we're going to have an Octaine options as well, potentially for people to buy stuff. I think you could say, Richard, no, but I thought we were.
What was that? What was that, Richard?
An Octaine merchandise store, I'm sure is. Yeah. So all those sort of things will be in there, and we're actively seeking others.
Yeah, we have working with us an international graffiti artist named Diogo Snow, who's creating some just wonderful items, unique pieces, art, everything. So you can also visit Octaine.com, start seeing some of that stuff now, and Octaine Racing as well. But be patient while we're putting these things together. We're holding back a lot of stuff right now. Didn't want to get ahead of ourselves too much, but yeah, we have lots of stuff to announce and provide as prizes too. I think it's important. It's very important. You putting all you riders out there putting in all this effort. You do deserve things in reward, and it's not just better health and stuff. It's actually things that you could actually brag to your teams when you go back to your teams on a Sunday or whatever. So.
And the key thing there is to keep doing FRR events. So at the end of the day, you are building up your points to go and earn yourself. At the end of the day, just earn from what you do, which is enjoy some racing with us. So exactly. That's the key thing behind it. So,
and this is open to also to the other race organisers too. So from other events, people that are putting on races and whatnot, get in touch with Rich. Certainly you can work together, and those rewards come across and applicable to your events as well.
They can be, yeah. You've just got to partner with us to say that you want your, and we agree which events will be part of it, and those things will count to people's areas.
Quick question. Joe's just asked in the chat there about where can they pay? Where can they sign up for the subscription?
Well, when I release it on October the 1st, you'll be able to log into your account, go to subscriptions, and there'll be a "Do I want to subscribe?" At the moment, it's hidden from you, or actually you can see the race rewards. But the only thing that I've not released at this moment in time is the pay now option.
Gotcha.
So it will appear in your profile.
Excellent. There you go. Okay, let's start bringing this home. You've also got Team Fearless as well. That's coming up.
Yes. This will be our second year, December the 6th. So Team Fearless is a women's only team event. That's going to run on December the 6th.
Yep.
We ran their competition last year. We'll be running it again this year. Again, they do a really great competition when we put this thing together. So again, the sign up for that will start the end of October. So we've got a whole 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks before that will actually happen. But December the 6th is the date to put into the diaries, and the communications and anything, the marketing of that will start quite actively soon through the Team Fearless admins. So that's going to be. So watch out for more news on that one.
Okay, and so you'll decide to hold off on sharing any Britannia tour information?
No, we can share if we feel as though we've got enough people who want to look.
Well, we definitely have. 95% of people want to know it.
Okay, then. Okay, well, Tour Britannia, I know we're only 2 stages into Tour France, but again, this is the way it works. It's all, the next one will be on 8th of November. So Johnny, you never know. You might be around for and not sick at this moment in time, or hopefully you can join us for this one. So now, yes, people are already looking at this one and going, "This doesn't look like a flat rolling course." It does not indeed. So what we've got again is a very similar concept. You've got 8 stages, 9 days. We do 3, then we get a rest day because good old ZRL sat in there on the Tuesday. And we're going to do a few things differently. So, we're setting up with a nice flat triple loops on stage 1. And albeit there's got Leith Hill in there, we should have done Leith Hill, John, but maybe when we're in London next time. In the sun.
I see the pump room there at the end. So that's
pump.
That's one of my most. I absolutely love that route. It's so challenging.
It is, especially as that's 2 laps of it. However, I'd rather like the look. A lot of people rather like the look of Sunday, the 9th of November, when we do the Queen stage of the Surrey 6. Now people will understand what I mean by the Surrey 6, because there's really only 3 hills in it, or 4 hills in that one actually, but
3 hills.
But not if you go for a second lap, it doesn't. Anyway, so I think Britannia will be a bit hillier, and then Sunday the 8th, obviously we're back up on a King stage this time. King stage nearly outdoes the Queen stage. So again, we've got a King and Queen stage in this particular one. Now, I'll have to blame James Bailey on one of the stages on there. He did tell me that one stage there couldn't do as a loop, so I needed to replace stage 6. And I thought, let's go for a little Richmond loop around. That one will be quite interesting as an ITT. Again, we tend to choose courses that you don't do as ITTs.
No.
And so if anybody knows what that looks like. Well, exactly. So if you know what that course looks like, you'll know exactly what you're going to be left for. So I think that is basically 3 loops of the little cobble climbs of Richmond. Now, I know Richmond isn't actually in the UK and Britannia, but actually, as people said last year, Richmond is in the UK, and it's just a play on words. So yes. I
don't think Ted Lasso knows that.
Maybe not. No, but then he does call things Leicester, so instead of Leicester. So, but look, again, all of these things out there are there to just to stir some emotions. And that one will certainly stir some legs. I mean, I actually quite like the Glasgow crit, and the reason why. It's because that course then will become carnage. 10 laps round there will become carnage. I'd like to see a little bit of carnage as A's and B's start overlapping everybody. And it'll almost be a bit like watching a Belgian sixes, where you desperately see riders trying to hang on the back of an A and a B to get a bit of a pull down the road. Maybe they can bridge back. Is what we've seen before, but for maybe the 60 seconds they can last.
That looks like a fantastic list you put there. It's
and I think the 2 numbers at the top are in small up there. So bearing in mind, in France we are doing 312 kilometers and 1,900 meters of climbing. Yeah, I think I surpassed it. Let's just say FRR is back in Britannia with a little bit more ascent.
Domination. Any no HUD races in that list?
No. I'm keeping the I mean, the specialties as we're doing in 6, we're keeping to 6 at this moment in time. So we'll keep this as a you can see everyone's pain and the whites in their eyes. But you never know. Cool. There's Britannia. We'll be posting that up soon.
There we go. So if everyone that's in the chat that just got to look at that, let us know what you think of it. Is it going to be fun or is it going to be eye-wateringly painful?
I think the last thing I'd want to just put out there is November 2nd. November 2nd will be the next one of these. All things being fair, which is just ahead of the there'll be a few things that we can talk about then.
We would have done the first round of the Super 6.
2-3 round, first 2 or 3 races anyway. And I think at the end of the day, given way it'll work with Christmas and all those sort of things like that, we've just got to decide when I need to talk about Triquetra.
Yes, well, that was asked about in the chat there. Certainly, Darren there chimed in. He wants Triquetra back.
Triquetra, as I've put out there, will be back in April next year.
April.
So April is when it's going to come in. So we'll do a grand tour like a grand tour should be done.
Perfect. That is going to be great. Okay, well, that's it. Let's wrap this up and bring it home. Again, thank you very much, John, for joining us. It's been fantastic talking to you. I do hope you get better.
Thank you. I feel much better. Thank you. I was actually thinking about after this sneaking down to my bike downstairs and maybe get in something, but I see the Ryder Cup is still going on there, so I catch up.
Yeah, so we'll look at that.
Well, just finish that off and then jump on the bike.
All right. Cheers, lads. Thank you so much for having me.
John, thank you very much. Or actually, can I just also say that Fitzy is the way that you like to be preferred to talk to, isn't it? So it's Fitzy to your friends and other things not to when they're not talking about you.
Being called John growing up is always when I was in trouble, so I like not to be reminded of those times. So it's Fitzy. Yeah, thank you.
Well, Fitzy it is. I'll make sure we update for next time.
Cheers, Nathan.
All right. Rich, thank you very much. We'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone who joined in. Joe, Gert, Lisa. We saw Darren there as well. Riz caught up. So Ernst as well. Thank you very much, guys, for all jumping in the chat there. Really do appreciate it. We're going to catch you on the 2nd of November for the next show. But in the meantime, have a look at the socials, connect in, subscribe to Octaine there as well. And if you haven't connected to our Discord channel, the link is in the description below. Jump in, say hello. If you've got any questions, you can ask them there. Otherwise, we will catch you in the next episode. Thanks.
Tour on.
Good riding,
Bye.
everyone.